what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Triple P, the Pluggo's PLE post show. I did Gold Rush week 1 last week, so I said I had to do it again this week. I got to be honest with you. If I would have known what we were going to get tonight, I might have just sat this one out. But we're here regardless. I'm glad to be back here on Love Wrestling, chatting some NXT Gold Rush. I didn't know this was taped. I didn't pay attention to that. I don't pay attention to I guess the spoilers. I didn't see them. So I didn't know what is happening, but I noticed that it was recorded, and I was just like, oh. Because, you know, if you're watching via a VPN or any of that fun stuff, you got to be ahead of the game, and I get confused on what I kept seeing things popping up on the feed where I was like, wait a minute. That hasn't happened yet. What's going on? So I was super confused while I was trying to keep up on social medias, but I digress. I made it through. Iron survived, which was a big theme of the evening. The Iron Survivor is a week from Saturday, which means your boy will probably be back because I actually enjoy the Iron Survivor stipulation, the match type. Like when I first debuted the Iron Survivor a couple years ago, I was really confused on the rules. I was like, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I really enjoyed that, and they did some good work, good business, I guess you could say, getting us ready for not next Saturday, but not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. This Saturday is Survivor Series, and I'm going to do a little housekeeping there. I will be here Saturday night with Ella J, talking about all the haps for War Games. So you'll want to check that out. Ella's fantastic. I love having her on. I love talking wrestling with Ella J. So be ready for Saturday. But let's just jump right in. Let's just get into this. I don't think we're going to be here super duper long. I don't think there's a ton to break down. But there was some things. We opened up with the Evolve Championship. Shawn Legacy versus Jackson Drake. Admittedly, I don't watch a lot of Evolve. Like, I've seen some episodes. I've seen some of these guys. It's one of those things where they kind of go, I should probably fit it in. It's only an hour on Tubi, and I have Tubi. Everybody has Tubi. Tubi's free. I should probably fit it in, but I haven't had the chance in a while. I watched like the first few episodes. It's not a bad product. Just, again, only a certain amount of time in the day for me. Hopefully that sounds better. My mic was unplugged for the first 3 minutes of the show, so sorry. But yeah, we had Shawn. Now this was a moment. Now this match, I thought it was what it was. Jackson Drake, he's got the upper hand. He's got his dudes out in the Brad Naylor and Ricky Smokes out in the ringside with him. So the numbers game isn't shot. Even if they weren't directly involved, just having them out there. You have to have that in the back of your mind. So ultimately, the numbers game ends up is Shawn Legacy. I thought Shawn Legacy again, and I don't watch, and I have no idea. I just thought when I see this guy on my TV screen, I'm like, that's a dude. That's a dude that I think has a look, has a bright future. He seems to have the crowd behind him. He seemed to have the energy. So I thought, okay, this is where they're going to showcase this guy. They're going to give him a massive win. He's going to win the Evolve Championship here at Gold Rush, and we're going to be in the Shawn Legacy area. That did not happen. That was not the case. The match was fine. The match was great. I like Jackson Drake. I thought both of these guys played really well off each other. But, at the end of the day, what do I know? I guess I should watch the show more, right? So I can't really comment on any backstories of these guys, but I definitely enjoyed what I saw in this match. Maybe that'll sell me a ticket to watch a little bit more Evolve. Maybe I'll tune in tomorrow night, and watch Evolve because it is Thanksgiving week. So I'm off on Thursday. I will be doing a lot of Thanksgiving dinner prep, but I will have time to fit in other things, other wrestling if I would choose. I'm off all day Thursday. I know that there's football on. I know that there's basketball on. I know there's going to be family over, blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure I'll have something on in the kitchen while I'm working because that's what I like to do. I would set my little iPad up, watch my stuff, prep my meals. I'm ready to roll. So we still have Jackson Drake as your Evolve champion. Nothing wrong with that. Then we have this really interesting backstage segment with Sol Ruca and Ethan Page. And he's basically stirring the pot. He like threw the towel in at Sol. He's doing the thing where he's like, hey, you're better than that. Like, you probably feel like you need to be with Zarya, but you don't. And listen, like, I had a discussion on Facebook with a guy commenting back and forth, being like, Sol's not the person to turn. Like, she's too likable. Sure, but it would hit much harder if Sol turned on Zarya, because so far, like, the way I've been watching it over the last few weeks is like, Sol's really getting annoyed with Zarya more than Zarya's getting annoyed with. Like, they're getting annoyed with each other. And it just feels like it would hit harder if it was Sol Ruca turning on Zarya. I think you could tell a fun story like that. And listen, in NXT, they love that. They love to turn their faces heel just to see how it works. Because we have to remember, again, this is a developmental brand. They are here to develop their talent. And if we haven't seen what a heel Sol Ruca looks like on any form, like in front of any crowds or any storylines, and then you put her up on the main roster, and she can only do the face thing for so long. I mean, the only person that's done the face thing is John Cena, and even he had to turn heel. I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, so that they might test it out, because I think Zarya's still got a lot left to do in NXT. I think Sol is one of those people like Trick, and Javon, who's like on the way out. Not like hard and fast, as we'll talk about, Trick and Javon later on. But they're definitely going to try some things. I think you would try some things with Sol Ruca. You could get a lot more Zarya sympathy than I think you could Sol sympathy, if that makes sense. But either way, I really enjoyed Ethan Page being there. Miles Bourne breaks it up, and he's talking his stuff about his match later. So we get into, right away, another championship match. It is Gold Rush. It is the Women's Speed Championship. We saw Jasper Troy win it last week. We now are 2 weeks ago, I should say. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I don't think he went on Gold Rush. If you're in the chat, let me know. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I don't know if I loved this. And I don't know. And again, there's not a bet. They booked themselves into a weird spot where they went. It's Fallon Henley. It's Zarya. Sol Ruca relinquished his title. Zarya is trying to win it back. Sol's not out there at all with Zarya. She's not going out there to support her friend. But Fatal Influence is out to support Fallon Henley. So there's already the 3-on-1 situation. And I can't remember for the life of me if Zarya said, I don't want you out there with me last week. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a week. So if she did and they sold me a ticket on it and I forgot about it, so be it. But as it looked at optically, it was like, all right, sink or swim, Zarya. And on paper, there shouldn't be a problem. Fallon Henley's a lot better than I think we probably perceive her, because she plays second fiddle to JC Jane, and then JC Jane's always in these matches with heavy hitters, so we kind of forget about Fallon. But it was a good match. It went the 5. It went the 5 minutes. The buzzer sounds. Okay, so what do you do, right? So we're like, oh, shoot, like this doesn't happen. So Ava comes out and goes, we need a winner. The title is vacant. We're going to go into sudden death overtime. I didn't like that she called it sudden death, because it's like, wasn't the whole match sudden death? One pin and it's over? Like, isn't any match that's one fall, pin and it's over? Like, that's so, just say we're going into overtime and we're going to give you 3 more minutes or something. Fernando, what is up, my friend? Welcome into the chat. We are talking NXT Gold Rush. I wasn't here last night for Raw, so if you got any thoughts on Raw, I'll talk about those while I piece through tonight's Gold Rush, which in my opinion wasn't as strong as last. I said that at the top. Had I known that this was going to be a pre-recorded episode and what we got ultimately out of the 2 hours, I probably wouldn't be here. But I do love talking wrestling with you guys. I love being on So I stuck to my word and I said I'd be here, so I'm going to be here. I like talking wrestling, so if you guys like these things, I might try to do more. Like, I don't know if I'll do every night of the week, but I maybe throw in a couple more, reacts or reviews here and there. Maybe we'll figure it out. I'm testing out some new things. I'm happy and gracious that the Love Wrestling people let me just go solo and do my thing. It's fun for me. It's just the extra content, and I love talking to you guys. Yeah, Raw was pretty good last night. I wasn't overly in love with Raw Fernando last night, but I thought it had some really good stuff. Obviously, it was a go-home show. Yes, more Pluggo, please. Somebody screen grab this. More Pluggo, please. Yeah, that's right, baby. I will happily do more of these. Like I said, it's just a matter of schedules and things like that. I already do quite a bit, but I do love just kind of just putting my thoughts out there in the open. Yeah, overall, I thought Raw was a go-home show to Survivor Series, so we weren't going to get anything super crazy last night, but I think they did a pretty solid job. I was a little disappointed that there was no actual women's match on the show. In 2.5 hours, we had women's segments, and those women's segments hit, but we need matches. I need women's matches. Has to happen on your 3-hour or 2.5-hour program. I'm going to say that, and I will always stand by that. You need women's matches on your program. It's just no ifs, ands, or buts. But anyway, so Ava tells us that we're going to go into overtime here. And JC won last week, so I was like, okay, they're going to play up the all fatal influence gold holders, blah, 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 that angle. They're going to play it up. And they did. Fallon Henley beat Zarya. With some help, of course. Why not? A shocker. But she beats Zarya. And what I didn't love is we got no Sol Ruka Zarya interaction tonight. It all was last week. Why aren't we still kind of needling that a little bit further? Why didn't we have Sol come out and then maybe backtrack, or have Zarya walk to the back after taking a defeat and Sol just gives her something? Just keep me invested in this, because you have me hooked. You've got me with Sol and Zarya. You've got me hooked 100%. I am in on this storyline, but I want it like every week. I want it instant. I want that to boil up to a point where it's like it's going to come to a head. And yeah, the Ethan Page thing was cool, but I need Zarya in the mix too, but we didn't get it, so that is what it is. All right. Can someone in the internet wrestling community explain to me what Shiloh Hill is? Like, what is his thing? He was all over the place tonight, man. Oh, I forgot to mention, I put this in my notes I would talk about before we talk about Shiloh Hill again. Booker T, man, he was all over it. He was dogging Zarya for throwing in the towel. He was saying how Fatal Influence, they don't tap when they're in submission. He was on one tonight, my man. I just wanted to point that out. I thought he did, believe it or not, I thought he did a pretty solid job here selling the heels in this speed match. But yes, Shiloh Hill. We get another vignette. The LFG Season 2 winner. Highlights of said, I wrote down, which his dad passed away and he gave him a WrestleMania t-shirt and he wore it at every Stanford game, which got him noticed by WWE. That's I have nothing bad to say about that. That's fantastic. That is a wonderful story. That is great. I lost my father and I still think about him every day. So listen, I'm not going to say anything negative about that part of it. But then after that wonderful sentimental moment where he's got me buying in and he's telling me a little bit more about himself, he goes completely off the rails, which is, I'm assuming, obviously is his thing. But I was utterly confused where he says, at one point he pulled out a fake tooth, basically said, like, I got knocked out before training. Everybody thought he was hurt. He was smiling, thought it looked tough. His mom said he should get it fixed, but he didn't get it fixed because Dolly's supposed to. So he pulled out a fake tooth. And then he just like abruptly cuts the thing because his bolt cutters came up missing. I was like, okay. His gimmick makes no sense, Fernando, but I think that's the point. But I also am just like, I'm still like, I guess it's a good thing that I'm sitting here going, I'm trying to figure out who Shiloh Hill is and like what the angle is here, because right now he has, in 2 weeks that I've watched, again, now he did the LFG thing. There's probably some NXT post-show analyst out there right now that knows the in-depths about LFG and all that fun stuff. I would say go check them out. But if you want my just raw take on a guy that I've only seen for 4 minutes total in 2 weeks, I don't know what to make of it. I'm intrigued by it, so that's good. Like, at least I'm intrigued. I'm not completely out on it. I just don't know what it is. And you know what? That's a good thing in wrestling. I'm going to let this play out. But this week, the dude just threw the kitchen sink at me in terms of he had my heartstrings with the dad stuff, and then he was all over the place with pulling out fake teeth and bolt cutters. And I need people to explain to me what it is. Maria, welcome in, Maria. We have Fernando and Maria in the house. We're talking NXT. Like I said, I was not here last night, so if you have Raw thoughts or any wrestling thoughts, you can drop them in the chat. If you want to guarantee that your statement gets read on air, you feel free to drop a super chat, and you can help support all the wonderful people here at Love Wrestling by just dropping a super chat. Let's keep the lights on. It helped me, help you, all that fun stuff, because then we can give you more content. I will say this: if you see the bottom graphic right there, Quizplex returns on December 16th. I almost said next week. I'm so far, the days are just melding together. Anthony Green, he will be returning. Big Bad Boris will be returning. We're going to have ourselves a doozy of a Quizplex. You'll want to check that out. And then 100% of the Twitch bits, subscriptions, QR codes will be donated to the Edmond chapter of the Canadian Mental Health Association. Yeah, that was from Boris's Extreme. That was from Boris's Extreme. But I will say this. If anybody still wants to do that officially, I forgot that was even up here. I will tell you this. If you go to Big Bad Boris, that's at BB Boris on all social media. Take that down because I don't know if he still has, but if you go to his channel on all his social medias, he has the QR code up right now, and you can still donate to a good cause. You don't need an Extreme to do it, but I will say that I don't think he wants that still rolling across the top. So the first 10 minutes of the show, Zach's gonna kill me when I need him to make a graphic. He's gonna be like, "Why didn't you do?" I wasn't paying attention. This NXT Gold Rush had me all sorts of feeling some sorts of way, and then. Maria says he wants to be a mankind. Maybe. I mean, that's kind of a vibe. He's got that spooky, off little vibe. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Again, he's different. I like different. Different in wrestling is good with me. He's not cookie cutter. He's not cutting a promo that I've heard 1,000 times. So maybe it's just breaking my brain trying to figure it out because I want to figure it out, but maybe I don't want to figure it out. Maybe it's more fun this way. We'll see. What's my favorite Thanksgiving dish, Fernando? All of it. That's my Super Bowl, baby. I love eating Thanksgiving Day food, all of it. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, stuffing, the rolls, the pies, all of it. I am a mac and cheese. I'm going to make a mac and cheese. Hopefully I don't mess it up. I messed it up one year, and I haven't heard the end of it yet. I overshot, but either way. You name it, I'm eating. What's your guys' Thanksgiving favorite dishes? Drop them in the chat. Now we get to some interesting stuff. John Cena has picked his men's Iron Survivor match. Now, at this point in the show, we did not know who was going to be the fifth person because it was, and we're going to rope up. We'll talk all that because again, that main event, there was nothing about that main event that was, in my opinion, significant outside of Miles Bourne winning. He had a blood feud with Trick, and he won. Not even really a blood feud. He's just kind of pissed at him. Anyway, John Cena shows up. He wants to give opportunities on his way out the door. He wanted to pick who he thought should be in the Iron Survivor match, and this is who he picked. He picked the young OG Javon Evans, the youngest in charge, Leon Slater, a TNA wrestler. A TNA contract. Now, again, they have a partnership, interesting that Cena would go the TNA route with so many, like, where's Tavion Heights that had a great promo last week? Hell, where's Josh Briggs that, I'm not a Josh Briggs guy, but where's Josh Briggs in this? Like, that was interesting. He went TNA. He has no affiliation with TNA. He must really like Leon Slater. I don't know. Did he have to get that cleared with Carlos Silva and Shawn Michaels? I would love more behind the scenes on why John Cena went the direction he went. Like, that would be really fun. Like, hey, can we get the young OG? Like, who was number 7 on this list? Because he picked 6 guys for a 5-person match. Who was number 7? Who was number 8? I'd be interested. Kind of like college football does their playoff rankings. Like, I want to know who the first 2 out were. So he goes with Leon Slater. Absolutely. First 2, that's going to be great. Get bouncy. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. I like it. Then he goes with Joe Hendry, the new WWE signee, Joe Hendry. He says he's a self-made guy. Boom. Again, I can't really disagree there. Green bean casserole. Yams. Ooh, yams, Ray. Yeah, yams are good too. I don't do yams very often. Maybe I should get some yams this year. I do like yams when I go other places, and I eat their yams. It's fantastic. I've never made them personally. But maybe this year, who knows? I got to figure that out. And then he goes with then he said the winner between before that, he went with Dion Lennox of Dark State. He picked Dion Lennox, which, again, of all the people, why Dion? Nice. I like it. I like Dion Lennox. I think he looks great. I think he's going to be, and he had a backstage segment a little later on in this show where he basically said, hey, I think it's time that I work on some singles. I'm going to keep the tag. So I think he's giving up his tag spot to one of the other guys, and he's going to focus on getting this done, Iron Survivor. And he said, hey, I'm not leaving. We're going to let people know who Dark State is and who runs it around here. So Dion Lennox is in this match. And then he said the main event tonight between Trick Williams and Miles Bourne, the winner gets in. So my initial thought was Trick Williams is going to get it. He's a former Iron Survivor winner. He knows all about this match. He did not get in. Miles Bourne got the win tonight. In a good match. It was a fine match. It's just not something that, like, if I'm thinking NXT Gold Rush week night 2, it wasn't the main event for me. It wasn't the best match on the card. It wasn't the main event. And I knew they weren't going to do it. We'll talk about it in a second. I knew they weren't going to main event the TNA Knockouts Championship. I don't know, even though I think they should have. But, that would have been a cool send-off. But they had to do the stare-down thing between the faces and the Dark State. Why are all the people in the Iron Survivor match facing up like Dark State? Like, you guys should be, I don't know. I just didn't. It's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, it is what it is. But of the 5 people in the Iron Survivor match, I think it's a good field. I think it's a stacked field. I think there's a lot of intrigue, especially with a Dark State member being involved in the match. Now, again, this is where I get, in my mind of like, Dark State has never cared about anybody else. They don't seem to care about matches. Why wouldn't the other 3 just bust this thing up? Like, why wouldn't you just come in and beat the crap out of everybody and essentially turn it into a 4-on-4 situation and help Lennox win? Or however it's staggered, whoever's in first. If Lennox is in first and there's a guy in second, why wouldn't you just stay out there until the numbers game got, you know what I'm saying? So that's interesting. I don't know what we do there. I don't think they're going to do that because I don't think that they would want to completely derail an entire Iron Survivors match because it's a new gimmick. It's only a couple years old. Dark State sucks. Fair enough. I don't necessarily disagree with you on that one. But so we'll see. I mean, I like Evans and Slater in the match. They're going to be good. I'm looking at it. So we also got later on, before I talk about the TNA Championship, we did get a Ricky Saints promo. We officially get Obafemi versus Ricky Saints at Deadline. So the winner of this Iron Survivors match, I guess, would get Ricky Saints or Obafemi. So I'm trying to think who would be a good person to fight. Javon, do we want Javon in that mix? You're not going to go Slater because he's TNA. So I don't think so. You'd have to eliminate him. I don't know if Dion Lennox is ready for it, but I will say that they do love throwing that random guy. Like they did it with Miles Bourne a few years ago, where they like threw him in the battleground match and he kind of made a name for himself because he had a hell of a match. They could do that with Lennox. They really could in this Iron Survivors match. So Henry's an oddball because like I think he needs to start winning some stuff. You just signed him. He needs to start with stuff. But I also know that his contract's a WWE contract, not necessarily an NXT contract. So I think he's on to other things. So I don't know if they're going to give him like, or we're going to do Ricky Saints versus Joe Henry, or Obafemi versus Joe Henry. I don't know. We could talk about that down the road. But we did get the TNA Knockouts Women's Championship. My match of the night. I thought this match absolutely cooked. We had Lei Ying Lee versus Jordynne Grace and Kelani Jordan. Kelani Jordan, your TNA Knockouts champion. This was what I thought it was going to be. It was Jordynne Grace dominating, absolutely powerhouse, showing off her muscles, showing off her skills, dominating a lot of the match. Kelani absolutely showing out with athleticism, doing all of the things that she does best. And then Lee with the strikes and the kicks and just that never quit attitude. Because again, in TNA's world, we want this championship back around the waist of a TNA wrestler. Now, Lee is a former WWE wrestler, so we can go down that road, but she's TNA. She's TNA signed. She's not crossing back and forth in that sense of like she's WWE star. She's TNA. They wanted to bring it back home. They needed to bring it back home. This partnership needed a TNA win, and we got it here tonight. Carlos Silva and Tommy Dreamer in the house to make sure of it. They're sitting in the crowd. That submission finish at the end where Lee's got Kelani Jordan in the ankle lock, and then Jordynne Grace is trying to suplex her. Lee's still holding on to the ankle. Kelani twisted. That was crazy. The powerbomb spots by Jordynne Grace were filthy. Just absolute. The winner is a head scratcher for the Irish Survivor. This was the right call. This was the call that we needed to make. I didn't dislike Kelani Jordan as TNA Knockouts champion, but tell me what she did as TNA Knockouts champion. Not much, and I don't know why they made the decision to go that route. Maybe it's because they were going dark, so they wanted the title on TV for a while. Indy Hartwell should have won the knockout. She should have won it at Bound for Glory. When I was at Bound for Glory, I thought for sure she was going to win it. But maybe that's the move. Lee and Indy Hartwell have some history, so maybe we'll get that. I don't know when the next TNA pay-per-view is off the top of my head. But ultimately, I really thought that this was in the 4:15 of the Roundhouse to end it. Like I enjoyed the three's chemistry there. You could tell when Lee won how much it meant to her, how much it meant to TNA. Like there we go. We got it back. Now will they keep it? I don't know. But now what do we do with Kelani Jordan, right? And Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace keeps taking these L's. Like I didn't want Jordynne Grace to win the Knockouts Championship because she's not a knockout anymore. She's in NXT now. But I also need her. When are we going to pull the trigger on Jordynne Grace? When are we going to give her a proper championship run? She was your big signing. She was like the crowning jewel of this NXT women's division, the resurgence of it after, the shuffle. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. And I'm just going to couple that all in real quick with we also had a backstage where Izzy Dame said she's going to explain to us next week why she did what she did to Tatum Paxley. And then ends the promo by saying, it is what it is, Tatum. That's an explanation. It is what it is. It's an explanation. But she's going to explain to us why she went ahead and turned on her friend Tatum Paxley there. Then we got a quick backstage segment where Ava basically bars Fatal Influence from ringside of the Evolve title match between Kendall Gray and Laney Reed. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to put it all together right now. What was the point, Ava, of barring them from ringside if they were just going to come out and get involved in the match to the point where they even got JC Jane got in the ring. If you're going to bar somebody from ringside and then they come out in said match, shouldn't that match get thrown out? Shouldn't it be an automatic disqualification? If you're going to bar people from ringside and they show up, what was the point of barring them from ringside? Like, there was no penalty from JC and Fallon showing up at the end of that match. They mixed it up with Ren Sinclair, and then Charlie Dempsey showed up and made the save. That was cool to see Charlie Dempsey back. That Kendall Gray, Laney Reed match, I had a great time. I have to say, I had a fantastic time watching that match. Again, don't watch a lot of Evolve, but I know enough about Kendall Gray to know she's good. She's got something. They've really got something there. Laney Reed, they've got something there. Show that. Showcase that. Don't give me... You made the... Ava, you told me they were barred from ringside. You said that they were out. They couldn't go out there. So in my mind, I go, you're giving me two of your up-and-coming women's talents in a match, one-on-one. Let's see what they got. Let's see what they could do in MSG. And you fumbled the bag at the end there where you had all the shenanigans, which, again, why aren't they banned? Why wasn't there DQ right away? Why is the ref going, hey, you weren't supposed to be out here? I was told by Ava you're not supposed to be out here. And so he did throw him out, but they caused enough of a distraction that it took away from what I thought was a really good match. Triple H said it on one of those Unreals, right? He was like, the women picked this up faster than men. The women's division in NXT from like the top down to the bottom is cooking. They've got talent across the board. And you could see in this match, like, Laney Reed has done nothing but benefit from hanging out with JC Jane and Fallon Henley. She's ruthless. She's not, the spot's not big. Kendall Gray's fantastic. Like, you didn't need to do all that. We didn't need, like, what's the repercussion for them showing up when they were specifically told not to? That really threw me off, if I'm being honest. Because, again, I like to look at it from a sense of, like, why even bring that? Why bar them if they can just show up anyway? Why weren't you out there saying, why didn't you come out there and shut the match down, Ava? Just say, control your locker room. Just throwing it out there. Just control your locker room. So, yeah, I talked about the Evolve match. Kendall Gray retains. Fantastic match. Muddy finish. Didn't love it. But that's on Ava. That's not on me. That's on you, Ava. Then we get a quick backstage interview with Ricky Saints. Like I said earlier, we get Obafemi and him at Deadline. I, at first, was super confused by this Ricky Saints promo in the sense that, like, it's not the same Ricky that we know. It's not the overconfident, exuberant, brash Ricky Saints. It's a very self-doubting Ricky Saints. And the way he spun it and the way he maneuvered it, like saying, like, the pressure, the pressure is on. If I lose to Oba, like, all of this was for naught because I beat him. And he said, I beat him. I got lucky because she goes, how are you going to beat him again? He goes, I don't know. Like, I actually thought that was really cool to, like, because I think people who are extremely overconfident and cocky and not arrogant. I don't want to say that. You know what I mean? Like, just confidence and just ooze the aura of Ricky Saints is. It's nice to see, like, yeah, I'm a person too, and I got self-doubts and the haters saying I couldn't do it or I can't do it or is this the right, am I the right guy for the championship? Like, it's nice to kind of see that, like, layer of him pulled back where it's like, and he even said it, like, I am Ricky Saints. I am going to get the win. But, he was, he still, like, had the confidence about him, but he was subdued about it. And I thought that was a fun thing, like a really nice touch. Check your text. Grainmaker Pod saying check your texts. I seen them right before I started writing all this stuff down and so I will respond to you when I'm done here, buddy. You nasty boys. Shout out to Nate Nixon and White Shirt William Taylor. I'm repping some Toronto tonight, Grainmaker, just for you Canadian folk. I will check my text. I'm a bad texter backer. It's not personal. I'm just not good at it. Like I don't know what it is. Like I'll see it and I'll go, okay, and then I like, oh yeah, I need to respond to that. And I was like, why didn't you just respond in the moment? Like I'm so bad at that. Like just respond in the moment, man. Like when you're already there. But I will hit you back as soon as I'm off air here. I don't know if that's great TV or podcasting for me to text you what we were talking about. Well, yes, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's good or not. I don't know. But shout out to Grainmaker. Check out Grainmaker Wrestling Pod. It's fantastic. He gets to talk to all sorts of fun independent wrestlers from across the globe. And then also check out For Exposure on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. We were back, baby. We were back this week. We had ourselves a good one. All I'm going to say is I guarantee you there's not another show that talked about Save the Last Dance as much as we did in a wrestling podcast. But anyway, I really enjoyed that Ricky Saints stuff. I thought it was kind of nice to, give me something different than the usual, like yelling over the top. Let him, because again, and that sells me a ticket too, because Obafemi is that guy. It's not like Ricky Saints did this interview with some, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody lesser than Obafemi, but it's not like he did this with like a Josh Briggs. I always pick on Josh Briggs, man. Maybe that's just me. But it's not like he did it, he's doing it with one of the most dominant forces NXT has ever seen. To a point where we, at least I had assumed, Maria, if you love Save the Last Dance, you'll love For Exposure. It's up right now on Love Wrestling CA. We talked a lot about the movie. Out of nowhere, we start talking about Save the Last Dance, and it got out of hand quickly. But yeah, it's Obafemi. I thought for sure he was going to relinquish the title, and move on. Because that's how dominant I thought it was. I thought we were going to give him the Oscar treatment in the sense of like, there's no one on this roster that realistically could beat him. And then Ricky Saints comes along and he does it. And he knows that's not something that I can do every day. I got lucky. The stars aligned. Right place, right time. Got it done. Can I do it twice? I know I could do it, but can I do it twice? It was great. And yeah, Obafemi was main roster bout. We had him in the Last Time Is Now tournament. We had him at the Open Challenge when Sami Zayn was U.S. champ. So we all assumed he was gone. He's back. I don't know for how long. I'm going to put it on right now. I'm going to say it here. I bet you he's in that Royal Rumble, and that's it. That's the move. And remember, WWE has been doing some interesting, like they don't do the right after Mania call-ups anymore. They do that. They do them throughout Mania season now. So maybe that's the move. We get Obafemi in the Rumble, and he ends up. So maybe this is a one. Maybe this is to like solidify Ricky Saints' championship reign this early. I don't know, but I liked it. We talked about the Kendall Gray, JCJ, all that, the Kendall Gray, Laney Reed match, all that stuff. Great match, fantastic match. I really enjoyed it. Okay. I wrote it down. Okay, I almost forgot. After that match, I wrote it down twice. We had the Women's Iron Survivor match announcement. John Cena announces the Women's Iron Survivor match. He only announced 5. We didn't have to do this you win, you're in things. So he only got 5 on this one. And he went with Kendall Gray, who just retained her Evolve Women's Championship, Lola Vice, Sol Ruca, Kelani Jordan, and Jordynne Grace. So 2 women who just took an L in the TNA Knockouts match. This Iron Survivors match on paper is great. It's loaded. It's stacked. There's a lot here. Kendall Gray is going to show out, but obviously I don't think she's the Iron Survivor. We've seen Lola Vice do this. We've seen Lola Vice be in these, championship spots and get these opportunities. So I don't know if they're going to go back to the well here. Sol Ruca has got the stuff with Zarya going on. It would be a feather in the cap of that story if Sol just went on her own with no Zarya at ringside and just won this thing. And she said, like, look what I can do without you. I'm the Iron Survivor, and I did it without you. So that's intriguing. I don't know if they're going to go there because she just came off the knee injury. I don't know if we're ready to throw her into the, with JC Jane. This would be with JC Jane at New Year's Eve as it stands right now. Kelani Jordan just coming off the TNA Knockouts Championship match. I don't think that they would have her be the Iron Survivor. Just had a championship. Jordynne Grace. Here we are again. Jordynne Grace. Why wouldn't she on paper win this thing? Well, she beats the Iron Survivor. She beats JC Jane at New Year's Eve. We start 2026 with the Juggernaut as your NXT Women's Champion heading into the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I kind of like it. That's not disrespect to JC Jane. They gave her the title twice. She had 2 belts all summer. She's absolutely worthy, but I think it's time. The Juggernaut's time. Either main roster her or put a belt on her and let her have a title run down here. She can't just be the muscle that beats people up and it comes up short. I need her to win one of these things. That's what I want. It's either her or Soul. I think that those are the 2 most logical decisions that you could make. Unless, of course, next week there's some issues with fatal influence. It sways me, but that's where we're at there. And really, that's it. That's NXT's Gold Rush. Dude. Last week was vastly bad. Last week was live. It was the first night in MSG. Obviously, they recorded this whole thing in one shot, cut it into 2, and shipped out this one. But last week just felt bigger, felt better, felt more important. I mean, we got Iron Survivor coming up in a week and a half. It is a holiday week, so they were recording so people could go be with their families. No, nothing wrong with that. Just, I needed more gold to be rushed, right? Like, this was Gold Rush, and our main event had no gold in it. Just had an Iron Survivor spot. An Iron Survivor spot that, in theory, you recorded last week after you told us that John Cena was going to make picks this week. But at the end of the day, I don't think I missed anything. I mean, the main event was the main event. And at the end, we had Joe Hendry and them come out. Dark stated up. Yeah. So that was Gold Rush. I'm not going to keep you longer than that. It was okay. I probably, had I not committed to doing this, skipped it and watched it tomorrow. I might have, slept in a little bit or went to bed early just because it was recorded. It was spoiled for a lot of people, but that's okay. That's okay. It was a good show overall. Not my favorite show. Some good stuff. Evolve's got a future. Maybe I'll add Evolve to my mix now to watch some more of these matches. But here's what we're going to do. I will be back here on a special, it'll be pre-recorded, but our Thanksgiving Day extravaganza between 2 beards will be Thursday night at 8 p.m. I will be there with JPJ, possibly some guests or 2. You never know. So you'll want to tune in there. All of my writings are up on lovewrestling.ca right now. I got the top 5 of the week. I got the LPW Revolution preview, which already happened, which will be up on IWTV, I'm assuming, within a day or 2. So you'll want to check that out. You'll want to see where I was right, where I was wrong. Saturday, I will be back with Blair Pacheco for 4 Exposure. Not sure what time yet because I do have to work, but we are going to work that out. We want to make sure we give you guys another episode. And then, like I said, Saturday night, post-Survivor Series. While I'm in a food coma eating Thanksgiving Day leftovers, I'm going to be watching Survivor Series War Games from San Diego. I'm going to be here with the wonderful Ella J. We're going to break it all down after it all happens. You won't want to miss that. You'll want to tune into Love Wrestling CA across all social media platforms to see what all of the cool stuff we got going up. I know Big Bad Boris's Watch Along is back this Wednesday. We got the brunch gimmick on Sunday with Lawrence. Like I said, we got beers, we got 4 Expo, we got all sorts of fun stuff. You'll want to check that out. And then I'm at Pluggo on all social media platforms. You search Pluggo, my face pop up. Everything I do will be on those channels, as well as at B2Beards for all the things we do on Between 2 Beards. You won't want to miss that, so follow that as well. And I will tell you guys when I will be back after that. We'll see. I think I'm going to come back for Deadline. I will be back for Deadline. I'm pretty positive I don't have anything going on that day. I will be back to cover Deadline. I won't be back next week for NXT, though. Maybe. You never know. You'll have to tune in to find out. But until next time, peace.